How's it going, everybody? My name is Ryan45678 and welcome back to the 1976 Honda MR175 Elsinore project. So in the last few videos, we got the cylinder off the engine, we got the clutch components out, and as you can see we got the cases split. This video we're not going to actually do anything per se, but what I'm going to do is walk you through the process that I've already done in ordering a few new parts, such as like measuring the tolerances of everything, and then I'll show you the actual parts as well, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about what I have planned for this in the upcoming weeks, I guess, or whenever I get to doing certain things on this thing. So yeah, don't forget to leave a like on the video if it ends up being helpful or enjoyable. Subscribe for more projects on things like this, and as always, if you want to support the channel, there are affiliate links in the description below. So first things first, I ordered a new piston, and I'll just give you a rough demonstration of what this is. So, I mean, you basically measure the inside, and it's basically, this one happens to be pretty much stock. The right way to do this is to use a bore gauge, but this is basically, so looking at this measurement, that's probably not the best place to measure that, because it's supposed to be 66 millimeters, which comes out to 2.598 inches, which that is about 20 thousandths over. So if we flip it over, the measurement should be a little bit closer to that. Okay, I take that back. So what this is yeah, it's more something to do with these things. I don't know how to use these exactly. So, but we did, so scratch all that. We did measure this with a bore gauge, and it came out to basically 2.598 stock size, with the exception of these gouges, which I'll show you. I don't know how well you'll be able to see that. I have some pictures I can put up to show you way better, but that's a nasty gouge right there. There's another one kind of similar to it. So basically, I did the math, and if I go oversize 1, which is 0.25 millimeters over, which is about 10 thousandths, so 5 thousandths on each side, it'll be able to get rid of that gouge. And thankfully it's only one size over, so I don't have to blow through 2 oversizes right away. But anyway, let's move on to the clutch plates. What I've decided, I know I said before I was going to replace these because they look nasty. I'm going to see if I can clean them up, especially the metal pieces. Should be easy. But basically I measured the width, or the thickness of them. So turn this around so you can hopefully see it better. So just kind of somewhere in there, and it comes out to, what is that? There we go. This is the measurement that I got. So it's about somewhere in between here, so between 5, somewhere like 4 and 5 thousandths is what I measured these to be pretty much. And I'll show you the clearances in a second on the manual. So on the manual, the standard for this is that many millimeters, but I measured in inches, so 0.103 is standard, 0.109 is max, I guess. The wear limit is 0.09, so as long as we're not below that, that's fine. So they're about 1.04, 1.05, so they're closer to the end of their life, but they're not anywhere near the wear limit at all yet. So I'm gonna see if I can clean those up and keep them, because you replace clutch plates anyway, so might as well use them while I can, because they're kind of expensive. It's like 60 bucks, 70 bucks for a whole set of those new clutch plates, the friction plates anyway. But yeah, as I was looking at the stats earlier, I found a typo in this. It says 0.15 millimeters for the standard for whatever this is, wear limit 0.25, 0.0098 for the 0.25, which is about 1,000th, or no, which is about 10 thousandths, and 0.059, which doesn't make sense. This is bigger than this one on the inches side, even though this is bigger on the millimeter side. So they forgot a 0. I did the math. They forgot a 0 on the first number. So just thought I'd point that out. The manual's not perfect. Double check sometimes that your math, that their math makes sense. Alright, and we'll just hop right back over to the piston specs. The piston OD is about 66 millimeters. It's 0.04 millimeters less than the bore diameter, so that's 66, which is stock, which is 2.598, as you can see. So oversize, I don't think it's mentioned here, but it's a 1/4 millimeter over, which is about 10 thousandths, and that's what we're going with. Also, new rings with the new piston to fit the oversized piston. Alright, so a couple more specs. The clutch springs. So the clutch spring free length, which is when it's just sitting there, the length of it, should be between 1.44 and 1.48. And I'll show you in a second what these actually are. I'll just do one because it doesn't make a difference. They're all, you'll see, they're all pretty similar. So yeah, if you take, I'm not really sure what difference it makes whether you put something here or here, but look, if you put the spring here, just kind of lightly put it, it's 1.4. That is awful. If you put it here, it's like 1.4. It's like right at the wear limit. It's just below it. So it's not even 1.44. The wear limit is 1.449, but this one isn't even that. And yeah, so we're definitely gonna have to replace those. I found somebody that's got pretty good shape, pretty good condition clutch plates along with clutch springs, and I might get those. They're like 40 bucks for both. They're used, so it's better than buying new ones for 40 bucks because I can get the clutch plates for pretty cheap. So if the springs work, they work. If they don't, they don't. So I forgot to mention, I've been soaking these in penetrating oil every time I come out here, so hopefully by the time I get around to taking them off, it'll be easy peasy. So I think that's it for new parts here. If I forget, and there's some that I show you when I get to the parts box, I'll let you know. But anyway, the next steps for this thing are taking out all the bearings that I'm going to replace after I get the retainers out, which that's going to be a little bit of an issue because the screws are staked. I'll show you what I mean. So see these little divots in the screws? Those are to keep it from coming out. And what I'm afraid of is that if I hit this with an impact, especially this one, that it's going to chip it off and I'm going to lose the metal piece inside the case. And I don't want that to happen. So if it does, it does, but yeah, these aren't magnetic. So I can't, unfortunately, hold a magnet to it to keep the piece from flying off. I'll just have to be careful. I've heard that you can drill out stakes like that, but I would prefer not to if I don't need to, because that's going to put more metal shavings in a place that didn't have metal shavings to begin with. So at this point, I'm thinking I'm not going to replace this needle bearing and the other one in the other case, but I might change my mind. I don't know. I'm not even sure how to get these out. I assume it's the same process as the other bearings, but it might be wrong. So anyway, bearings going to come out, seals are going to come out. If I can get this kick lever out, I will. This thing is going to probably come off. Anything in here that doesn't need to get chemicals on it or that I want out of the way so I can just have bare cases, I'm going to get out. Because what I want to do is clean these, because clearly this is nasty. This is a little bit corroded in here. The other side is also on the outside, I believe. Let's see. I take that back. It's not. So this actually doesn't look too bad now. For some reason, it was worse before, I think, which is really weird, especially with these being magnesium and supposedly being easy to corrode. So after everything's out, I'm going to clean these probably with mineral spirits and then lacquer thinner, someone said. So obviously it's going to take scraping the gaskets, getting all the dirt out first so it doesn't get everywhere, getting the corrosion out. But you know, before that I'm probably going to strip the paint, and I'll show you really quick. I know I'm going all over the place, but I'm just really trying to document this process for anybody else that might go through it. with one of these bikes. So what I've been doing is testing what I'm going to do for paint stripping. So this might look silly, but what I've done is, because I'm replacing this old cover, because look, it's all nasty, I didn't buy a new one of these points covers, and maybe I should have, but look, this is corroded and it's almost gone through right here. So that's why I'm replacing this. But I've taken and I've used Jasco paint and epoxy remover, and if you've seen my Edger bike videos, I use that to strip the black stuff off of pipe that I was welding for the frame. But anyway, I just wanted to see if it would corrode it, because apparently if there's not a protective coating on the magnesium, it can corrode. So far it looks good. It stripped the paint off. There was a dull kind of coat on top. I don't know if that's primer or if that's bare metal, but it looks to be okay. By the time I get to that point, though, this should be pretty evident. I'm putting this wet paper towel on it to try and force it to corrode, if it will. So far, it's been on there overnight, and I just soaked it again about an hour ago, and nothing's happening. So I'm going to put it here where there's more, seems like more bare metal. But anyway, if that succeeds and doesn't cause corrosion, then I'm going to be using that stuff to strip the paint on all these cases once they're clean. Obviously it's going to be fine on the aluminum cylinder and head. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do for that, and I'm going to buy some, I don't know, I'll see what I need. Probably just black automotive paint, unless I can find the specific color. I don't know. There's a website, if I remember, I'll link in the description, that has all kinds of paint colors. Like I was looking for the tank, the gas tank, and it's light ruby red, and they sell it. They sell it in a spray can for about $17, and they sell gloss for a similar price, and you could probably use any primer because it's steel. So yeah, so we'll get to that when we get to it. But for now, I'm thinking this is fine for stripping the paint, and I want to say that's bare metal, but I'm not sure. And it's not corroding, so that'll be that when we get to it. And this looks more like more like a matte finish than gloss. So yeah, let me stop rambling, put this aside, and I'll show you the new parts. Alright, so first we've got the new side cover, or left crankcase cover, I guess you would call it. It's new old stock, so it's not perfect, but look at it. It's beautiful. It's not got any corrosion, obviously, because it didn't, it's new. So yeah, this is perfect. And I'm obviously not going to paint it because it's already painted. I'm surprised they had paint on the gasket surface, but you know, it's what it is. So that's going to be good. What I'm probably going to do, because as you saw, I mean, I know why this is all corroded. It's because it had dirt and mud in it, and that's probably the level that it had it up to. But what I'm going to do is I also bought some of this stuff, which is Gibbs Oil. So it's supposed to prevent corrosion, and it specifically said something about magnesium. Okay, so it actually disintegrates corrosion too, so I'll probably use it on this case that's corroded. If I want to, maybe I'll do the same on this case and use it as a backup. We'll see. But I'll definitely have to do it on the points cover because I didn't buy a new one. It's like 20 bucks. And it's like, really? I spent $30 on a whole new thing of this. It doesn't come with this. If I did want to buy this, it's like 20 bucks versus 30 for this. So it's kind of ridiculous. But anyway, yeah, see, surface preservative, aluminum, any and all metals, removes the effect of oxidation, and a water propellant protective coating, bright oil finish. So, oh, after wiping you can paint right over it. So I will probably, if that's the case, I might test it first on probably this thing. But if that works, then that's a protectant. I can just wipe it off, although it's going to be hard in the cracks and crevices, so I may not. But if I can just wipe it off, use that as the protectant to keep the magnesium from corroding underneath the paint and then paint over it, then maybe that's a good option. I mean, it says to use a rag, so if I can't really get it in there with a rag, I can't really get it off either, so it kind of cancels it out. But yeah, that looks like a plan to me. This thing isn't in perfect shape. I'll probably rub some Gibbs oil over it, and I don't know, I don't really want to repaint this thing because it's going to get scratched up anyway when I ride it, so. And I could say the same for these, but I want to get it good because it's like all kinds of paint missing. Alright, so the star of the show is the new piston, which is this thing, and look at it. It's I went ahead and measured it, and it is the 0.25 millimeter oversize, which is if I remember correctly, it was like 2.6 something inches. But anyway, it is pretty much too big to fit in there, so it is definitely the oversize. I mean, plus I measured it, so it's gonna be good. And with that, I bought new circlips for the piston wrist pin. Just figured might as well, because you don't want just saving like $1 or however much on the circlips to cause the piston to fail and ruin the engine. So also rings, obviously. I'm not going to open these yet because they're sealed. Just I don't know, it's kind of cool to see that these are still sealed. I got a new gasket for the points cover, so whenever we take this off, refinish it and stuff, get the corrosion off, we use this for the new one. This is kind of just a random thing. It's a breather for the gas tank. You put it on the gas cap. These two, they're kind of random as well. They're the covers for the two levers, the clutch and the front brake. There's the 1 dowel pin for the case. These are the 2 dowel pins for the cylinder. Other side I showed you earlier. Here are the studs for the cylinder. It's weird, when I was looking at these, they look small, but when you actually put it up next to the existing studs, they're the same size, and it's really weird. It's like some optical illusion. Another thing I got was a locking tab, which if you saw my clutch removal video, there's a locking tab holding the clutch nut on underneath it. So I figured instead of trying to re-booger that one up, we use a new one. There's some other piece in here. Oh, it's the O-ring for the oil filler thing. These, I believe, are hose clamps, if I'm not mistaken. These are all the screws I got, exhaust bolt screws. These, I believe, are the points cover screws, and I also got 3 new screws for these because these are messed up. And I didn't get enough bearing retainer screws. I only got 2. I should have got 5. I'm not sure how I messed that up, but I'm sure I can find more of those. Because I figured with the stake, I'm going to have to replace those anyway, or might as well. And then last but not least, 2 spark plugs. So yeah, that pretty much sums up all the new parts and everything that we're going to be doing in the next few videos. So yeah, don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed the video or found it useful. Subscribe to the channel for more project videos like this. And as always, if you want to support the channel, there are affiliate links in the description below. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Bye.